nesibutho senza nokunye nokunye nje okuchiyechiyene okwenziwa
everyone, thank you for joining us. We are coming to you live and direct from our studio here in Pretoria, South Africa. I want to welcome every one of you joining us this morning. That's welcome to the African Portal Radio TV International. Be a very busy week, but we are back. We are fully back in the studio here in Pretoria, South Africa. A lot of things is happening in our community, in our society, in our continent, Africa. A lot of things is happening in South Africa, and a lot of people are talking about it, and it's gaining momentum across the globe, and we are asking ourselves a question. Is this what we need in times such as this, as an African? Is there the time that we need to be dividing against ourselves? Is this not means that the trick that is being using against us is working? Divide and rule. What is your view about this? Kindly join us live right now. You can call on +27842483384. Let's discuss. Let's talk. Let's talk about ourselves. I think this should be a family discussion. Let's talk about ourselves. Let's talk about Africa. Let's talk about why we hate ourselves so much. Let's talk about what is dividing us, which is hatred. And let's talk about what's supposed to unite us, which is love. And let's talk about why the love is no longer in our space. Why do we hate ourselves so much? Why is it have to be all about me? I hear one of the March and March guys saying that they are giving kudos to Trump for that. Trump is talking about American first, American first. So they are also now talking about South African first, South African first. Let's see where this road will lead us. And that is why we take it upon ourselves to connect with one of the community leaders living in America for years. You have been in diaspora, contributing a lot to the growth in art review, and also is also a voice for the voiceless, the face for the voiceless. I have in the house with me the great leaders of our time, Simon Mambe. Mr. Kennedy Mambe, thank you for joining us this morning, and how are you today?
I'm fine, Sam. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this historic conversation.
Thank you very much. We are in the time and space in our life that we are experiencing different thing now in South Africa. This is not new. It's been coming since 2008. We have the history of South African attacking the other African country, living in their country, telling them to go back to their country. And this time around is gaining more momentum. Why? Because it's also involved the social media. They have some of the people that's living in diaspora. What is your view about what is happening in South Africa, and why this at this time?
Yeah, we need to, I want to preface my response with saying that it's very important for those who are inside South Africa and outside South Africa, especially our brothers and sisters who have been involved in our struggle over the years or historically, that we contextualize. South Africa is going through, we are at a crossroads as a country. On the political side, economically or socio-economically, we have problems that are not created by foreigners or anybody else, but the inaptitude of those who have been in leadership positions, especially for the past 30 years. So we don't need to shy away and not address that. So the conversation from the very start, it must be very honest, very candid, and also be forward-looking. So we have our own internal problems as a society: leadership vacuum, appropriate ethical leadership. That is why now the country is fixated on the ongoing commission looking into the law enforcement entity as a result of Mokonazi's July 6th press conference. So what is happening in that space needs to happen in all other areas and sectors of our society, which also have a direct implication and connection to how we also deal with migrant issues and how we deal also with other related issues, from border control, service delivery, on and on and on. The list is long. That has absolutely nothing to do with migrants. So that's number one. And number two, we also have to be historically honest and fair. We cannot dismiss the role and participation of Africans in our liberation struggle. And I, particularly now that I know I'm talking to a Nigeria-based network, I know Nigerian government and Nigerian people have historically put forward not only their resources, but they have also welcomed our people during apartheid days, and they have gone over and above call of duty to support our struggle. So anybody who just nonchalantly dismiss the contribution of Nigerians and other Africans, we need to call them to order, because Africans have been part and parcel of our struggle over the years. So South Africa is going through its own internal political, socio-economic crisis, and then it gets compounded by other issues. And then now some of our opportunistic politicians, instead of coming up with lasting solutions, they now want to play on those issues to divert our people's attention, to confuse them. And then now, in the 90s and 80s in South Africa, we used to talk about the third force. We also had third forces and people who do not want to see Black South Africans unity or progress in our country, and Black South Africans or the country connecting with Africa in a way in which the apartheid regime denied us the opportunity to connect in that Pan-African unity and Pan-African solidarity. So the problem is a lot more complex than some of our people who are speaking and screaming the loudest want people to do. So we need to be very sober and very calm and very lasting solution focused to deal with the complexity of these issues. I mean, sometimes, you listen to some of our own leaders, they sound worse than Donald Trump with saying America first, the way they're talking about South Africa and then Africa and other Africans. So my appeal and my take is that there's a lot of South Africans who are pleased, number one, with the fact that the president is finally stepping up to say, let me show leadership on this matter. And he outlined some solutions that needs to be ventilated. We need to bring other people who have been involved in this dilemma, going as far back as you're right, my friend, almost 18 years ago. Xenophobic, Afrophobic attacks don't start today, but solutions have been put forward. A comprehensive approach need to be the way to go. And also the right stakeholders must be brought to the table. We don't just want to listen to those who are screaming the loudest and not listen to those with cool heads who also want to say, look, South Africa has problems, and that is why our people are now have reached a stage where the pain is so deep that some of them are no longer being rational. But cool heads need to come in, and we need to be able to align with some of our friends, African friends and others in South Africa who are looking for solutions. And this thing of painting all Nigerians, all Africans as criminals, as bad, is also not fair. The same way people are painting South Africans as all xenophobic is not fair. The conversation must be balanced, and it must be long-term, lasting solution focused, and the right stakeholders must be at the table to be able to find solution. And I am of the deep conviction that the problem is surmountable. We have gone through worse situations than this. I mean, living under apartheid is nothing, it pales compared to what we're dealing with now. So I am of the deep philosophical belief that collectively we can find solutions, and we must find solutions.
Mr. Mambe, thank you very much for your view. I really appreciate that. Let's look at the President Ramaphosa address on Sunday. That is on the 7th June 2026. What is your take on it? Is the best what we can get from our president, or what is the people saying about this state's address?
Yeah, at the very minimum, I think an average South African, whether you are on the side of whichever political persuasion you align yourself with, I think at the very minimum, an average South African is happy that the head of state is finally stepping up and speaking on this matter. It has been ignored for too many years. So even though people might disagree with some of his pronouncements and recommendations, but the fact that he now has escalated and elevated this matter as a national of national importance, I think it's a sign of relief for many of us. Then how we unpack it and how we move from here, again, like I said, some of us have said now, after the speech, call a national indaba, the same way that, there are indabas call on all kinds of different issues. So now that you have made some pronouncement, bring some of us into the room or into a conference. Let's now unpack this thing in a very systematic way. Those who are out demonstrating in the streets, yes, it's their right to demonstrate, but bring them in. Let's sit around the table and engage with a focus on finding solutions. And then those who have been sleeping at the wheel, as in our government officials who have not done their work, they must also be held accountable. So part of the reason why I partly agree with the March leaders is that they are asking why government has not stepped up and done their work. I don't agree with the favor in which they are amplifying the discussion, and also the disregard for migrants' rights and others' rights, and the dismissive way in which they sometimes engage in these conversations. But I think it's a good start with what the president has done, and let's up on the momentum, engage in constructive conversations like we historically have done with matters of this nature. It's a very important matter. South Africa is not an exception. The whole world is dealing with migrant issues. How you deal with it is what matters. I mean, right next door here in Botswana, the new president is dealing with migrant issues, has come up with some creative ways of how we incorporate migrant into the larger geopolitical or the whole, how we constructively incorporate them into the economy, into the society, because not all migrants are bad. So we even the conversation must be very honest to dismiss the fact that even right here in South Africa, I know thousands of migrants who are constructively, positively contributing to our economy, to our society, and to the communities in which they live. So that cannot be ignored. So the conversation, the president's speech was a good start as far as I'm concerned. And I think it brought a sigh of relief to a whole lot of people, because there was a leadership vacuum in this conversation. So now President Ramaphosa has, in a very welcome way, began to say, let's take this issue serious. Let's talk about it. And the government, this is what the government is doing. And he also, in his own way, admitted that the government also takes responsibility for not acting fast enough. And that's why they are now making some recommendations and suggestions that I'm saying we need to ventilate and we need to engage with a focus on looking forward, not in an antagonistic way, in a disrespectful way, but in a very constructive, positive, in that rational pan-African unity and solidarity spirit. Because South Africa is the engine, it's a very critical part of the African continent, and the engine to the future of economic engine and progress of our continent. So we cannot afford to miss this opportunity we have now to allow cooler heads to come and let's engage like we have done before.
All right. I thank you for that. But let's look at the results we are getting from other African country. By today or tomorrow, Nigeria is taking about 500 Nigerians out of South Africa, and also Ghana already do that in few weeks back. I think about 300 Ghanaians take out of South Africa. What is this means to you?
Yeah, that's a very unfortunate situation. And I want to first start with the Ghanaian repatriated ones, because we got very conflicting reports. The High Commissioner of Ghana first said all those 300 were those who have applied, and and their paperwork was caught up in the Home Affairs red tape. And then the following morning, we got a report from South African police and Home Affairs representative who said, according to their own investigation, none of those 300 who were repatriated appeared anywhere in the Home Affairs. Means we are getting two conflicting information. So some by which information and data that's being shared, especially publicly, in this volatile environment, is accurate and it's honest and reflective of the reality. But the situation in all is very unfortunate, because those situations should be and could be and must be avoided. And if you say now even the Nigerians are now lining up to repatriate, that's unfortunate also, as far as I'm concerned, that we need to be able to say, why are they repatriating? Can we avoid those kind of situations? Because it means they are repatriating because they have given up or out of fear of their own safety. And that's a concern, because if they are in this country and the law enforcement cannot protect and safeguard their welfare and security, it's a concern. So in many ways, for me, it's a sad day, but I also understand that's indicative of the crisis and the situation we are in, and we must try as much as we can to stop the bleeding. I see that as more as a bleeding that needs to be stopped hastily.
All right, thank you for that. Let's look at the impact of this in South African economy. I mean, removing people from the country, repatriate them back to their country. Is this have any impact on South African economy?
No, because so I was reading somewhere, somebody was making an argument that studies, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I also know just from my own experience that there's a lot of migrants in this country who are running businesses that hire South Africans who are benefiting from those business relationships. So even on the internal side, it's bad, because those who are leaving or plan to leave are going to affect families that depend on salaries and depend on what those jobs provide for them. But if we then broaden it on an international level, it doesn't look good, because it affects investor confidence. It creates bad publicity for us as a country when we're trying to bounce back. I mean, a country that has an over 35-40% youth unemployment, and it's not a country that can afford to lose people who are an integral part of our economy. So economy is critical, and our economy is connected to the African economy, and we need to strengthen those economic relationships more and more and better than what we have done in the past, because the African continent, as studies show, is the fastest growing continent in the world. So South Africa cannot isolate itself economically from the African continent. But we need to start by looking after those who are already in our country, work with them, find ways in which we can crystallize and strengthen our relationship. So economy is very important for us to be sensitive to it, given our circumstances.
All right, let's look at the March and March team. Let's look at the impact this one already. I mean, this is already, bringing to our society. What do you think government should do in a way, going forward for something like this not to happen? We believe that this is sponsored or promoted by some political parties. What is government is doing regarding this, in your own view?
Yeah, the government has obviously taken one of those neutral, understandable position to say is their constitutional right to march, which is fair. And also, I think the position the government has taken comes out of their own admission of guilt, because March leaders have raised, in some cases, very legitimate questions that you have not done well on border control. How can you have the border be capacitated at 25%? You have not been able to streamline home affairs. You have not been able to create jobs. You have not. So some of the issues March on March leaders have raised are very legitimate issues that some of us have raised before and many others have done. So there's nothing new about what March and March leaders are raising. The only problem and question is that how emotive they have turned the conversation into, and how the media frenzy around it that prevents us to have a very sober, focused, and constructive conversation. So some of the issues embedded in their conversation and their issues are legitimate, but the manner in which they are raising them and how they are amplifying things, it makes it difficult to have a constructive conversation. And it also puts the government in the corner, because government leaders and including their political party have come out to say, yes, I think we have been slow in dealing with these issues, and now we're trying to deal with them, and let's deal with them constructively.
If you are joining us.
Yeah, hello.
Right, thank you very much. We are having issue with the network. I'm not sure if it's not your network is failing us somehow, but it's okay. We are still hearing you. We are still together. We have about just 5 minutes to round up this conversation before we say goodbye of this program. Let's quickly look at the way forward from here. What is the solution, and what is the future hold for the African living in South Africa?
No, the future is always positive and good. As far as a starting point, we need very bold, strong leadership on the part of our government, and also those of us who are in the civil society community, including those who are in March and March, that they cannot just see this as an issue where we are forever on the attack, as opposed to just coming up with solution and engaging other stakeholders in the process. And there are other Africans in this country who, I've been involved in this issue for over 15 years in South Africa. So there are very constructive, sober-minded civil leaders, people in the religious community, in the business community, who are ready and willing to step forward and say, let's have a conversation and come up with a constructive, lasting solutions. One of the challenges and the weaknesses some of us had with the president's speech is that we felt that he did not consult widely. So if we can have, that's why I keep saying, an Indaba-like forum where everybody can come in, and then we put the old and the new solutions on the table, and then we look at way, and then we can constructively, collectively come up with solutions moving forward. Because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that with what I have observed and people I have met and people that I know in this space, solutions are there, and we can find each other. So a platform and mechanism must be created where we can all come in and come up with a comprehensive solution with a new sense of agency. Because before, the reason why the issue has been ignored, people thought, it will come and go. But now it's here and it's saying, I'm not going anywhere until there are lasting solutions. So the difference this time must be this new sense of agency that gets embedded. And then we should stop generalizing, because that's another problem, generalizing, and then challenge the media also to be balanced in their reporting, because the skewed and the frenzy the media has put on the march and the tension as opposed to the solution is also not the right way to go. So we must challenge the media also creatively to say, let's also constructively talk.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mambe, for your time. I really appreciate it. Let's look at the deadline. That is 30th of June, 2026, by the March and March. Is this something we need to panic about, or should we just continue as life goes on? Nothing is happening.
No, we should not panic about anything, because, like I said, this problem is surmountable. The law enforcement entities have come out and said they are prepared. Government said they are prepared, which means every citizen, not only just migrants, every citizen must be concerned, because we have seen in the past that some of these marches have taken a vigilante turn, they've taken a vigilante turn and have become very violent. And that's the last thing we want. If they proceed with the march, it's a responsibility of the government to make sure that people's safety, property, and lives are protected, and this thing is done the way normal democratic societies observe and do their marches. But at the end of the day, what happens on July 1st? The march will take place on June 30th. The question should also be now, what happens on July 1st and beyond? So, but our hope is that between now and June, something urgent can happen so that it can then change things a little bit towards the positive end. But nobody should be fearful that the march is going to be violent, and anybody should raise the temperature and scream and make intimidatory statements and threatening statements, because the minute that happens, the government must be very decisive and arrest those who break the law or arrest those who are threatening violence. And also, we must not leave the government out. They must do their job just like it happens anywhere else in the world. Anybody who makes threats or who violate anybody's constitutional right, they must be dealt with and dealt with accordingly.
All right, thank you very much. That is coming from one of our very own great leader of our community, that is Simon Mambe, joining us all the way from Artreville, telling us what is happening and his own view to the President Ramaphosa State of Address on Sunday. So before I let you out of my way, Africa, we have historical background of us mixed together. Some people come from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and all that to form, this great continent, Africa. And some people come together as well to form what we have in South Africa. Historically, we have people living in South Africa many years as working in South Africa. If you look at the history, look at the mines, look at all this, should we throw all these historical things away and just say that, okay, let African living, let everybody living in their own country according to what the Westerns already put together? The Westerns come together and divide Africa to whatever they divide them to. So should we just say, let's continue living like Nigeria, should we stay in Nigeria, South Africa stay in Nigeria? Should that be the narrative, or should we change the narrative?
No, you see, now you're asking a very loaded question. And for a rational Pan-Africanist like myself, it's a very important question at the same time. And it's in Nkuruma, by the way, we say Ghana, free Ghana without free Africa. What's the term? Africa, if Africa is not free, Ghana cannot be the only African country that's free. That is why the whole African continent must be free. And we gotta make sure that the continent unite in a way in which we have never done in the past. For more than two reasons, apart from the fact that is the onslaught from the Donald Trump community or angle, but the survival of South Africa depends also on the stability and the unity and solidarity of Africa as the continent. What the AU, Organization of African Unity, started, it was not only a dream, but it was a vision that we must find a way to bring to reality today as we deal with some of these internal nationalistic issues. The unity of Africa is paramount. So I'll be the last one to say there should be division, there should be difference. We must find a way to nurture and celebrate our diversity, our uniqueness as Africans, because when that happens, it becomes magical, because some of us have traveled throughout Africa and live in other parts of the world. So we know that this thing is possible. And once we gel, nothing and nobody can stop us.
Okay, thank you very much. And nobody can stop us. But let's look at the African Free Trade Agreement. Is this attack not a way for us not to achieve that dream? Because if Africa can come together and we agree on this free trade agreement, this will take the economy of Africa to the next level. Should we say that is the reason why this division is happening?
No, it's part of it, and that is why I said earlier on in one of my responses to your question that during apartheid days we used to say there's a third force that was fueling the division among Black South Africans, and I'm saying even now we have a modern day third force that is dividing Black South Africans internally first, and also trying to make sure that we do not connect organically, systematically, creatively, and futuristically with our own African brothers and sisters. And remember now, in some ways, this third force is taking us back to the apartheid days where they wanted to create serious division, isolation, the divide and conquer, as you adequately said earlier on, that the divide and conquer is an approach that worked before. They think it will work again now, and we must do everything within our power to make sure that it does not succeed. So the unity and unification of Africa is key on an economic level, on a political level, on a cultural level, and on all other levels. That makes sense, but it must be rational, it must be sober, very systematic, and not fall prey to those who don't want to see us unite. And that's why I'm saying, even among ourselves, our people must not just fall prey to those who are screaming the loudest. We must stop, pause, and say, let's connect the dots.
All right, everyone, we really appreciate you coming out strongly to be part of this conversation, and also to address the African continent and the people of Africa, to let them know that our unity is paramount. And remember, I used to say this, that before you become whatever you become, you are first Africa. Before you become whether South Africa, Nigeria, or whatever you become, you are first Africa. And remember, if religion is what is dividing us, you are first human being. That is very important. Before you become whatever religion you are practicing, what is important is humanity, thinking about other people. Don't let us use all this religion, political view, and all these ethnics to divide ourselves. Let's rather unite ourselves. Let's come together as an Africa. Let's achieve the greatness for this great continent, Africa. It's possible, we can do it. We have a lot to do together in this great continent, Africa. Mr. Mambe, before I let you out of my way, what is your advice to South Africa, especially the one on the street, match and match?
Yeah, know that we are not the only country dealing with migrant problems. But just like we have led in the past, and we have had and be seen as moral authority on a whole lot of international issues, let us also step up even in this case. But don't be fooled by the loud mouths and those who are speaking the loudest. Listen to the issues, understand the issues, and be willing to be part of the solution. The solution is not in the hands of politicians only, or in the hands of those who are out in the media or the media is promoting. You are also part of the solution, and you must step up and play your role, because all of us have a role to play, and stay away and avoid as much as you can generalizations about our fellow African brothers and sisters, and even among ourselves, and even those of our brothers and sisters who are in South Africa. Know that not all South Africans are Afrophobic and are xenophobic. South African and average South African is not, and I think that's one of the areas where I will agree with our president, that but South African and average South African is not xenophobic and it's not Afrophobic. But there are people who are amplifying this issue for their own selfish and very dangerous interest. So we need to be very circumspect and very careful in how we respond to what the media feeds us, especially the mainstream media. But we must be very shrewd and very reflective and careful with how we dissect what is being fed to us on the radio, social media, and then print and electronic media. So we have a responsibility to also to act responsibly and accordingly.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Mambe. I'm just allowing one person to come in onto this program to join us live all the way from Nigeria. We just want to hear the view about this. What we are discussing, African divide. Is that the solution? Is that the way forward? Or African unite? Is it the way forward? Is it what we need to achieve? Let's hear from other side of Africa. Let's hear what people are saying. So it's also a guru, he's also a journalist, and also a media person. Good morning, and how are you this morning? You are joining us live on the African Portal Radio, discussing the issue that have to do with our community, our society, especially the country in Africa called the African continent. I just want you to mention your name and let's hear your view about this conversation. The unity of Africa.
Actually want to achieve anything as a continent together. We have to come together as one Africa for our future to be bright. You know, the European have to come together, and that is why we have a better European.
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, I think let's connect you back again. Hold on. We're having issue with your microphone. Let's connect you back. Just hold on. All right. In 1 minute, we connect you back now. All right. We are having issue with the network. I think it's the microphone is not coming out to the studio. Let's reconnect him. All right. What is getting momentum right here on the African Portal is issue that have to do with our continent, Africa. The unity of Africa, Mr. Mambe say, is very paramount and is very important. And we need to see beyond what is dividing us. We need to focus on what is uniting us, which is love. Love is stronger than hatred. Let's talk about love. Let's talk about ourselves. Let's love ourselves. Let's use the resources we have in Africa. What we have in Africa is more than enough to take care of everybody. We don't need to fight ourselves. We have more than enough, especially when you look at the countries in Western Africa, looking at the country in Central Africa, looking at the country in South Africa and East Africa. Bringing all these resources together, we are going to be dictating the economy of the world. That is is exactly what they are attacking, and that is why it's important that Africa divide, so that we will not be able to achieve our goal. And we are saying right here on this program to say, let's come together, let's build better Africa. We can do better than what we are doing right now. Mr. Mambe, thank you for coming out to be part of this conversation. While we are still waiting for the person connected with us in Nigeria, Mr. Mambe, what is your advice to Africa beyond South Africa now? What is your advice to Africa?
Beyond South Africa. Remember now, our fight is also international. You have the diaspora that has now mobilized in a way in which they have not done before. What Donald Trump has done in that country, he has also created a new momentum for African Americans and also the Caribbean. So the diaspora community is also ready for a new wave of engagement with Africa that we must find a way to accommodate, engage, and align with. So as we look internally on the African continent, we must know that in Europe, in the US, and North and South America, and the Caribbean, our people are looking for alliances, new alliances, and new terms of engagement that are principled and also are solution focused. So some of the squabbles we are having internally, that some of them are nationalistic, are ethnic. Our brothers and sisters in other parts of the world are saying, but we also are looking for leadership on your end, and we're looking for alliances so that we can also get a protection from what we're experiencing in Babylon. So the continent, the world is watching to see what we are doing, and also for leadership on our end. So our task is it's a very serious, critical one. That's why I keep saying that sober minds must engage, and we must be very creative in our solution seeking process, lasting solutions, and then find ways to align creatively.
Wow, thank you very much. Do you see the vision coming true? That is the free trade agreement in Africa. Do you see it coming true?
Yeah, it will come true. It has to come through, because it doesn't make sense that we cannot trade with one another, and then there has to be all kinds of barriers and red tape for us to be exchanging commodities, and one cannot move from South Africa to Nigeria, Nigeria to Ethiopia, Ethiopia to Ghana, and then you have to go through all of this, some of this unnecessary visa processes. So the free trade must work, because it's all in our best interest for the free trade to work. It must be balanced, obviously, all the proper modalities be put in place. But our survival and our future depends on the free trade success.
All right, thank you very much for your time. We have the guest back online with us from Nigeria, but we are still struggling with the audio for your voice to enter into our studio for some reason. So, but we thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. We really want you to say something about this conversation, but unfortunately, your voice is not getting into our studio. We don't know why, and we don't know what is happening. But we can hear you. We hear what you are saying, but it's not loud enough to put on this program. But definitely we will still bring you back in some other time to connect you to this program, and also to let your own voice also be count on this conversation that we are having right now. But thank you very much for joining us. For those of you that you are joining us, thank you for the pleasure of your time. We really appreciate it. Let's keep believing in this great continent, Africa. Let's keep working towards the unity of Africa. Let's keep believing in ourselves. We can do it together. We can do it. We can make this continent a better place for all. And we can also make this continent whereby we don't need to travel out of this continent, because Mr. Mambi, that is another issue that we are going to discuss next time. Look at how Africans are pouring out of Africa to Europe, to America, to Canada, to go and find a greener pasture. What do we need to do to make sure that people stay back in Africa and build Africa? Millions of Africans are running to Europe. Many people are dying in Mediterranean, all in the name of looking for greener pasture. What do we need to do to make this continent a better place, where people don't need to run out, where people need to stay in and contribute their own quota to this great continent, Africa? I think that will be the conversation we are going to be having the next. I'm bringing you back. But I really appreciate your time coming out to be part of this conversation. Thank you for your time, and please do have a very great time and keep shining, keep doing the great work. I believe when I call you next time, you will be happy to be here.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I also want to thank you and African Portal Radio and TV for the amazing work you have been doing over the years. I know the it's not easy, but you continue to be persistent and you continue to raise the relevant, important issues, and also provide us with the kind of right platform for us to be able to articulate some of these issues and views that we cannot ordinarily express. So thank you very much. Stay strong. Keep the good work, my brother.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mambe. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. Keep shining, like I said earlier on, and keep laughing, keep smiling, keep doing the great work you are doing. And I believe Attreville with you, that's part of Africa, is going to be a great community. Keep shining. Thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone joining us. Thank you for your time. We are still live on the African Portal Radio TV International. That is Mr. Simon Mambe, and he's telling us that we can do it, Africa. The unity of Africa is paramount. Let's come together. Let's unite ourselves. Let's work towards bringing solution to some of the problems facing us in this continent, Africa. And let's believe that Africa belongs to everyone living in it. Not only the what South Africa said, that South Africa belongs to those who are living in it. It's Africa. Africa believes in those who are living in it. And remember, we are not Africa because we are born in Africa. We are Africa because African is born in us. So it's inborn. So if you believe in this continent, if you believe that African can rise again, if you believe that Africa to the world, the vision and the dream can come to reality, let's rather unite ourselves. Let's believe in ourselves. Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's work together to make this continent a better place for all. Let's work together to build the better environment, better society for our children. The future of our children is very important. And if we continue like this, there may not be future for our children. So let's come together. Imagine children go to the school and also standing against their teacher, that they don't want the foreign teacher. That is barbaric. I don't think we need such thing in times such as this. Let's see beyond what is dividing us. Let's look inwardly to what is uniting us. That is love. Love is stronger than hatred. And that is what the African Portal is saying. We live in Africa. We believe in Africa. Africa is our business. And we promote Africa on a daily basis. Believe in Africa, eat Africa, speak Africa, eat Africa, and dress Africa. Let's work towards our economy. Let's build strong economy in this great continent, Africa. I believe we can achieve it. And that will be what is gaining momentum on the African Portal right now. Before I say goodbye out of this program, I want to sincerely appreciate everyone that make it possible for us to be on this live program this hour. And I want to celebrate every one of you joining us, those of you watching it, those of you sharing it, those of you connecting with us. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. About 500 Nigeria is going back home between next 48 hours. What does that mean to this continent? What does that mean to South Africa? We can also continue this conversation on our social media handles on the African Portal Radio, and as well you can also connect with us via our Zoom link or on our video link, and at the same time you can also connect with us on our Facebook channel, and you can talk about it. Comment. Let's hear your view. If you want to be on this space, you can also call us on +27 84 248 334. you can also call us on that number as well. Thank you for your time, for joining us. I really appreciate it. You are the co-host of this program as you are watching it. Thank you, and God bless you. Keep watching it, keep talking about it, keep celebrating Africa, keep believing in Africa, keep telling people that yes, Africa, we can make it and we can do it. I believe so, and it will come to pass. Let's believe in this continent strongly than what is happening now. Mr. Mambe already mentioned that there is no need for panicking, that June 30 is not the time that is going to divide this continent, but rather we are going to unite ourselves against the forces that is dividing us. There are some forces that is dividing us. Poverty in Africa is by design. Xenophobic in South Africa is by design. Some people are gaining from it. So let's see beyond all these things and let's believe so strongly in ourselves. Remember that the African Portal is the only place you can advertise your business. If you want to advertise, call us on +27 +278424833384. If you also want us to put you on the spotlight, you can call us on the same number. Visit our social media handle. We are available on all social media space. Let's do it together. Thank you for your time and keep watching African Portal. Till we meet again, my name is Dare Oluso. And kudos to all our teams that will make it to Ekiti State last week. It was a very great time. The report is coming out. We are going to also put it on the spotlight and we are going to talk about it. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. I don't know what exactly is the problem. I just realized that we are unable to get you on the speaker. I don't know why, but I think you are on now. Let's people hear your voice.
Okay, good morning, Africa, good morning, South Africa, good morning, Nigeria, wherever you are listening to me in Africa. My name is Olujo Swantibora. Like we're saying, this issue we have to think about this issue as an Africa, as a nation, as a continent. You know, what is the implication of about 500 people, Nigerians, is leaving South Africa for Nigeria in the next 14 hours? What is going to be the effect of the economy of Africa? And what is going to be an effect on one united Africa? The Africa that connects everybody together, that wants one Africa. You know, when you say the Europeans build a single economy at a point, and that is strengthening them as a continent that they are ahead of us. The African leaders should rise up to the occasion, believing in one Africa. Let's have a common goal and let's see ourselves as brothers. Our color does not matter, whether you are white, whether you are black, we are all an African. And as an Africa, we need to love ourselves, we need to tolerate ourselves and believe in ourselves. You know, the ideas of achieving should come together in order for our generation that is coming to enjoy this. You know, our forefathers, just like Nelson Mandela and others, fought for independence for Africa, for South Africa and for others. And what is their goal? They are not doing this for us to divide as a continent, but they are doing it for Africa to liberate ourselves. But now we notice we don't love ourselves in Africa, we don't believe in ourselves in Africa, and we don't trust ourselves in Africa. And that is why we find ourselves in this situation. You know, when we're South Africa, I'm in Nigeria, you're Zimbabwe, we're all one Africa. When we love ourselves, when we love ourselves and we believe we can only build a better economy together that will put Africa in the front line.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is coming from the founder and the owner of the Happy Magazine. So watch out for the June edition Happy Magazine. Thank you very much for joining us. He's also a media personnel, also doing well in his own right in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much. All right, that is coming all the way from Nigeria and is telling us that let's unite, let's come together to build this great continent, Africa. Like I said earlier on, Africa is our business, and that is what we promote on a daily basis. The African Portal Radio, Africa to the world. Keep watching it, keep sharing it, keep believing in it. God bless you. Have a great time, and I remain Dare Oluso. Goodbye from now.
kutala kwabo nje shabuya penduka kwakukusumambo lomzilikazi bese yafika ekuthini inkosi lobhengula yasinyamalala. Kule history nje lokhu ifakwa khona phana ekutheni uDakamela ngobunyanga bakhe ngobuqhawe bakhe wayekhokhela futhi ibutho lebabambene labelalwayo izimpi leziyana but bathi wadlala indima enkulu eChangani phana wadlala indima enkulu ekuthini inkosi lobhengula sehlaselwa ngamabhunu wayenza imkhathakhatha yakhe izulu amayeza abumba kwana izulu abamnyama thu inkosi yabisinyamalala yena uzananzelela ukuthi esikhathini esiningi siyabizwa kuthiwa singwanqobe. Mina ngikhule ngaze ngagcotshwa ngaba yinduna ngingakwazi ukuthi ngingwakwanqobe ngikwazi ukuthi ngingwakwaDakamela bathi kukhona kanti hhayi singaba kwanqobe uzananzelela abantu bakwanqobe abaningi ibade bekhona laphana because ba-identifya the chief Dakamela ukuthi bathi induna